All right, so what we're going to focus on today is just two functions of Bluebeam. This is not a course to make you super amazing at Bluebeam. It's just a tool that will make your jobs a little bit easier for one or two perspectives. So the ones that we're going to deal with today are just overlay and compare tools. In the Documents tab up here, you have these two little features. If you just hit the pin button here, you can also add it to the top of your toolbar to compare documents for either one of these. So this is a pretty nice feature. If you use these tools a lot, usually I use overlay a good amount, so I just have a lot of my key functions up here. So there's two big differences between them. Overlay is pretty much just taking the two drawings and then overlaying them together so you can see the differences between the two a little bit more clear. And then compare document is comparing the two documents and providing you kind of like a clouded markup of the two. This is becoming kind of more prevalent when we get into projects that, we're doing design build. So the permit set comes out, then the construction set comes out, and there's no clouds on it. This compare tool can actually provide you a good idea of what's changed between those two sets. Generally, they do roughly the same thing, but there's benefits of both. More or less, we're going to work on the overlay pages a little bit more, just because I think it's a more useful feature than the compare documents tool. So firstly, what we can end up doing is in this overlay is when you have to deal with multiple trades and kind of overlaying two documents to see where these two items land and how it might affect your overall plan of attack for getting some of the stuff wired or piped to. So right now I have the mechanical plan here. It shows you where all the fan coils, all the AC units are supposed to be, but it's not on the electrical drawings at all. If I go over to this page right here, it shows generally where some of these are, but it doesn't show also all the circuiting. I have to go up to a whole different page to see what's being circuited, so you have to flip back and forth. So there's a way that you can actually add these two together so that you can make one comprehensive plan for your team. The first way would just be to go and overlay the pages. When you hit overlay pages, it's going to bring up the document that you're on with the page that you can be on and what pages are here. What you're going to want to do is add other pages right here. This will allow you to add any file that you have up top here. You can add all open files. You can add a specific file outside of Bluebeam right now, or any of the open ones you have. So I'm actually going to click 66 Galen Street again, so that I'm adding a different page. You can see it jumped to page 119, the page I'm on, and then it's the overall document here. When you're comparing the two pages, it has to have the same amount of pages to compare. So either you do a 1-by-1, or you ensure that the document is the same size altogether. So we're just going to go back to the current page here, and I want to overlay this with page, I think it's sheet 101. And it's going to give you a rough layout together of the two pages. Most of the times when you're overlaying two different trades, they don't match up exactly with the viewpoint. So Bluebeam has made it really, really simple to align them with the auto align feature here. This has generally worked almost every time I've used it. The only time this doesn't really work is when the scale might be a little bit off. But if you hit auto align, it's going to find the most the closest thing together and match it. As you can see, it kind of ignored the title block because it found that this was more of a matching object. You can also see some of the notes aren't there. You can also change the colors between the two. So let's say you don't really, want to see as much of the ductwork, but you just want to see a little bit more of the overlay from your electrical. You can change the electrical to be the red one, and then you might be able to change the ductwork to be gray, so that this makes it more pop for your items. So if you hit OK, all it's going to do is just produce an overlay page. and make an overlay file here that you can either save as or just delete it as such. So if you zoom in here, you can now see that you have your fan coils shown up along with all your other electrical devices here. Does anyone have any questions on that? Cool. The next item that we're going to do is overlaying to catch changes between prints. So this is where the compare tool and the overlay pages kind of work together and work against each other. So the project that we're working on right now for Novo, we're getting progress prints every couple weeks to see what the differences are between this and try to catch up with design. But it's really tough to tell what has changed between a progress print from here to here between flipping back and forth. So the overlay pages really helps to show you those highlighting, just kind of like a record drawing would show. So again, if we just hit the overlay pages, it's going to pull up the actual PDF I'm on. I want to add in the actual previous set here. So we have the two sets here. And what it's going to do is ask you for the two colors. The red and the green work well together because once it overlays, it will actually show you if anything is black or maintains the black and gray color, it has not changed. The red and the green is what changed. So as you can see here, the progress print, the red here indicates the new stuff, green here indicates the old stuff. Again, if you want to change that to red being the old stuff and green being the new stuff, where red is deleted, green is new, whatever colors you want to pick, you can change them here. So if I hit OK, it will start to show you the differences between the two. As you can see, the electric room changed a little bit between the two prints. The red was the old design, the green is the new design, but these four panels have not changed location. Same thing with up here. There are a couple of these receptacles that have not changed, but there has been a removal of one receptacle here, and the dishwasher now has a special connection for the hookup. Same thing as you can see, a couple of the servery has been deleted, but there's no floor box here, but now actually has a couple of input receptacles. So this makes it a lot easier for you to see the overall changes between two progress sets or what you're actually working on in that area. If I went back and did the compare tool instead, it will provide you a markup of what happened. This is a little bit more complicated, but the same thing. You are just picking a print. You're picking the second document. So this is the old document at 528. This is the new document 625. You can do all the pages or the current page for individual page alignment. You want to just hit auto. And then what it's going to do is it's going to apply a new copy of revised page tier. There's a lot more advanced features, but generally, if you just hit OK, it's going to go through and hit a cloud markup of everything that has changed between the two, and we'll try to align the document. As you can see, it's caught a lot of clouds. And the reason why is because a lot of the line work has also changed in the background of the architectural file. So as you can see here, there's a bunch of clouds here, mostly because it's probably that dotted line that changed, not the actual drawing itself. So that's why the compare tool is not as great as the overlay tool, but this is also mostly the compare tool will help you pick up sheet notes better. So if you look at here on the 625 sheet, this E223 got picked up from page 4 here, where it only showed, oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong sheet altogether. I'll save. Not sure why it turned that way. But generally, there was a note here, E22223, that got picked up. The compared documents picks up notes better than it picks up stuff on the drawings, mostly because all the line changes. So if you're like comparing what's in the actual install here, I would recommend doing overlay pages. If you're looking to see what has changed for like sheet notes or like overall content, I would go through and do compare documents here. And then lastly, not sure why this is all grayed out now, but just gonna open up new batches of the same file. Lastly, you can compare kind of pages of what you're going to do. I'm not sure why this is. Let me just restart Bluebeam for a second. Sometimes when you do the compare tool as well, it ends up kind of messing up Bluebeam like that. It tries to show the gray toned out for everything. So if you just restart Bluebeam, it usually fixes itself. Again, another why. So lastly, I wanted to go over using the compare tool to show you how you might be able to pick up problems, or how to design your work a little bit better based on what's items you can't see. So for the Novo project, this is where gypsum ceilings are going to be used versus open ceilings, and where MC can be versus pipe. So let's see, it should also be page 4 or architectural page 44. So in this area, we have a multiple different ceiling types. We have ACT over here. We have gypsum board here. We have floating ACT clouds over here, some soffits, and then just wide open space. In the electrical print, however, when you look at that page, which I think is page 10, none of that information is shown here, right? It's very difficult to understand, how you might even be able to, pipe over here. Can you do soft cable? Do you have to do hard pipe everywhere? The overlay tool allows you to kind of create your own drawing to understand and plan better for designs. So if I was just going to do the overlay tool again, I would just add in the architectural print, the selected page 44 is the one I'm on. I want to go on the current page here for electrical. As you can see, it's not 100% lined up because it's using just the overall title block. So I'm just going to do auto align. And it usually lines up the grids pretty well. It looks right. And then again, I'm just going to make my electrical red, and then the underlying architectural gray. And then when you hit OK, it now creates you a pretty good document that you can use to see where all your electrical is, as well as what ceiling type is going to be used in the area, which allows you to kind of plan a little bit better for your home run boxes, for your piping, without you having to go back and forth 20 times to find out what ceiling type is in this area. Does anyone have any questions on the compare tool in Bluebeam? No? All right. So lastly, I'm going to go over kind of comparing two documents. Chris, do you have a comment or a question?
I know Keith Arsenault was having an issue with something and he wanted to ask you about it.
Yeah. Keith, do you have a question?
What was the issue I was having?
You were saying things weren't overlaying for you.
Oh, well, watching him, what he did, I figured out why it wasn't working.
Got it.
When he did the first section, it answered my question.
Perfect. See, the training's already working. Ian, did you have a question? I see your mic going on and off. No? All right. So this overlay tool works really well when you're designing with Bluebeam, when you're going to be making markups. This is how the BIM team does it. However, if you're quickly going through and you don't have access to Bluebeam, or the guys in the field want to look at something, since we're getting Procore, I'm just going to go over the Procore compare feature because it works just as well as the Bluebeam overlay and compare tools. It's just more or less in Procore, and you don't even have to do as much work. So it's a much faster process. So let's say we wanted to look at the difference. Right now, I think I am in the New Balance drawings here. If you're in the overall drawings tool in Procore, you'll see that there's a bunch of revisions, and it will tell you what actual revision the drawing is on. As you can see here, the reflected ceiling plans on revision 2. Panel schedules down here, the roof and stairs. There's a lot of different revisions. Okay, no problem. I'm just going to go down to the electrical drawings and go down to, I think it was the panel schedule. So as we can see, there's four revisions to this panel schedule sheet. If I click on this 4 right here, it's going to bring up all the drawings that have ever been issued for this specific drawing number. If I'm going to compare these two, I can actually easily compare it between any one of these documents or previous versions of it by just hitting compare to this version. What it does is the same thing that Bluebeam does, is it overlays the two, and it will show you in blue what is added and red is what is removed. It takes a quick second, especially if the file is large. Come on. Quick refresh. And as you can see, this red was removed. So they just removed the cloud from the last revision there. And then they actually added just this one little breaker in this revision on this drawing. Additionally, if we go to the overall floor plans, let's go to Power Manufacturing East. Compare this version. This provides you a really good markup of the two drawings side by side. And it can help find items that the engineer might have not clouded. But as you can see up here, it looks like they added these two probably VFDs and then moved over this little tag. And then they just added a note down here, as well as you can see, like the markup will maybe hinder what you see, but this is a really quick way to see, hey, did something really change in this? They removed this entire cloud, but that's not really, anything that's changed from the last drawing. It's just the cloud has been removed. But Procore is pretty quick at providing this, and then you can just download this compare drawing and send it to your guys in the field. Right, so instead of you doing it on Bluebeam, this is a quick way to just compare that one single drawing to itself. Bluebeam allows you to kind of create your own overlays of different systems, maybe putting the data on the power as well, providing your fire alarm on top of all the power so that you guys have a kind of one single point installation drawing for your in-wall rock. Does anyone have any questions about that?
Is Procore limited to one drawing at a time?
It is just on that single drawing, because what it's doing is comparing this drawing
The
from that
revisions.
drawing. Yeah,
Gotcha.
just the versioning. So it's just more helpful in that sense. You can't do a compare versus the two. That's where Bluebeam comes in, and it can actually do that heavy lift of comparing the entire document to itself.
Definitely something cool on the fly.
Yeah. So if you're doing something quick to see what's changed from the last one or the last issuance, it can. But generally, if you do overlay pages and you just add the previous set, it's going to match up with the 63 to 63. And then it can overlay them all and give you that same kind of look. Yeah, so generally that's the tool in a nutshell. Does anyone have any questions about it or any problems that they're having now that I could solve? Yep. Arthur.
So I tried overlaying a couple documents yesterday, and I had one document that had markups on it. And after I did
Yep.
the overlay, the markups didn't appear. Is there a way to make those appear into the overlay? Do they have to be flattened onto the document first?
So you made markups on the PDF, such as just, a clouded revision here. And this
Correct.
didn't
My
show
own
up.
notes and yeah.
Yeah, it won't. I mean, if you do flatten it onto the page, it will show up that way. What you can do is just take all the markups from the overall markup tab here, and then you can just copy them and then paste them onto that overlay as well. That way it's not part of the drawing, and it might not, because this would show up as a color change in that overlay. But if you just copy it to the sheet again, it will be an outside source, so it's not really not within the drawing and causing problems for future compares. Does that make sense?
Yep, I got that.
Mike, did you have a question? Mike Rockwood. Nope. Okay. Does anyone else have a question? If no one does, then I can just cut this a little bit short, and I'll have this recording up on Procore soon. If you guys want to reach out to me with any specific problem you're having with this tool, or want to go over a specific document, just send me the PDF that you're trying to use, and I can walk you step by step on how to do that for your problem. Just so that you're 100% sure that it's working. So, last call for questions. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks, Corey.
Thank you, Corey.
Thanks,
All right,
Corey.
thank you.
Thank you.